Hello, my name is Jordan Clark, and I am excited to have you all join us today for Impact Aurora, inspiring unity, change, and service. Through this dynamic program, you will hear from leaders from all sectors as they share their experiences in the Leadership Aurora program, as well as their insights to leadership, service, and providing a lasting impact on our local community. We hope that through these topical conversations, you will hear about the great work taking place across Aurora and inspire each of you to strive for excellence every day and make a positive impact on those around you. Let's get started.
Really just want to go ahead and kick it off right now, and really excited to kick off today's episode of Impact Aurora, inspiring unity, change, and service. And today I'm really honored and privileged to speak with Aurora Police Division Chief Marcus Dudley. And so it's been an honor working with him over the last, probably 8 or 9 years since I've been working with my organization in Denver. And so really it's a pleasure and honor, Chief, to have you joining us today. I'm just going to do a little bit of a quick introduction and bio for Chief Dudley here, just to kick it off for our viewers and listeners. So Chief Dudley is actually a Leadership Aurora graduate, and he has proudly served the City of Aurora in the police department for over 24 years. And he's currently the Division Chief for Policy and Compliance. And since starting his tenure with Aurora Police in 1996, he has had quite an impressive list of leadership and service to the Aurora community. And his experiences within the department really range from patrol, school resource officer, the training section. He spent a considerable amount of time with the Crimes Against Children unit, as well as supervising the Aurora Police Intelligence Unit, And then most recently, he has served as the executive officer to the Chief of Police, where he was able to oversee the media relations and recruiting units for the department's community outreach efforts. So Chief, I just want to thank you so much for everything that you've been doing for the City of Aurora, the community, as well as the department. And one of the things that we are incredibly excited about and really want to congratulate Chief Dudley is he is actually going to be now serving as the Chief of Police for the City of Abilene, Texas, and will serve as the community's first African-American police chief. And so it's really an honor to partner with you here. And Chief, just want to congratulate you on this new role. And I know that the City of Abilene is going to be absolutely delighted to have you serve and protect their community. So Chief, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here with you, Jordan. You and I have gone back over the years in working together. I know when I was a sergeant in the intelligence unit, you were someone that I looked to with the work that you are doing for the cell. And being able to educate our community about some of the many diversity issues that impact all of our communities that sometimes we're not quite aware of, and how some of those things can also be impacted with safety concerns. And so you and I go way back. And so when you called me and asked if I'd be available to do this interview, this was definitely one that I knew I would commit to.
Wonderful. Well, Chief, thank you so much. And I know the City of Abilene, the City of Aurora, we are going to absolutely miss you. But I know that city will welcome you with open arms, and just excited to see your leadership in that community. And so one of the things that I just want to really just kick off our conversation today is, this program is really kind of falling under the umbrella of the Leadership Aurora program. And I would love to just start the conversation and really just ask you about your experience in the Leadership Aurora program, and kind of talk to us a little bit about when you went through it. What were some of the projects and initiatives, and kind of how you've just been able to carry that experience into your service with the police department, and how it's impacted you personally and professionally?
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, and thank you again for the invite. The Leadership Aurora program has meant so much to me over the years. When I started out in the program, I began as an officer, and I eventually promoted through the ranks. And as a part of those promotions, you began to be associated more with a lot of other organizations within the city. One of those organizations that I'm quite frequently involved with as a command officer is the Aurora Key Community Response Team. And this was a program that was put together to help citizens be involved, be engaged in calming civil unrest if we should ever run into an occasion where that might occur. And so you have community leaders from all over the city who are part of this group. And you know what's amazing is that many of the folks that are in those meetings are people that I met many, many years ago in the Leadership Aurora program. And we've maintained our relationships throughout the years. And so one of the things or attributes of being a part of the Leadership Aurora program is that the people that you come into contact with, these people that are leaders in their own respect, will quite often be folks that you will participate in other organizations throughout the city. And so I'm so thankful for that.
That's wonderful. And just a quick follow-up question, as you've been able to see how these groups are really interconnected across the community of Aurora, from Leadership Aurora program, the Key Community Response Team, the NAACP Aurora chapter, why is community service and engagement so important to you?
Well, it's because, law enforcement cannot be done by police officers alone. You have to have a commitment from the community that you're serving to want to be a part of coming up with solutions to resolve crime within our community. And, it's important that our officers have that opportunity to engage with community members so that they can continue to expand their empathetic growth capacity. So that they can better represent and identify with the people that they serve. And so it definitely needs to be a partnership. And that's one of the experiences that I will always treasure with the Leadership Aurora program is not only did I get to be a police officer while I participated, but I also got to be a community member, and I got to watch both of those groups come together for common good, and that is uplifting those in our community who are in need.
That's incredible. And so, Chief, one of the things that our heart is with this program is to really try to help inspire unity, change, and service. And so just through some of the different community engagement efforts that you are a part of, not only with the police department, but others, what is it that maybe you strive to do every day, or something that you do every day to try to inspire that unity, that change and service to others around you?
That's a really good question. For me, what it brings to mind is something that a Sunday school teacher once told me. They said, pray like it all depends on God, but do like it all depends on God. And so if there's any one thing that I do every day that inspires me to put aside petty differences and to bring about change in a constructive way, that is I pray. And I try to make sure that my prayers aren't about myself, but they're about uplifting others. And then I go out and I do as if it all depends on me. And that is, I go and I try to see where I can be the most productive in advancing the life of someone else, and being compassionate in the way that I do it.
That's amazing. And I would certainly echo that, just in my experience over this past year of being involved in the class, and really just seeing the wonderful people that make the community of Aurora such a special place. And I didn't know about it coming into it, and I think you echoed those sentiments as well, of just not really knowing kind of the extent and the network that you can ultimately get plugged into with such a program, and how it can really impact a lot of different avenues personally and as well as professionally. And Chief, one of the things that I know the program does is really focus in on service impact projects back to the community. And I believe every class really has an opportunity to choose a class project to give back. Do you happen to remember kind of some of the projects that maybe your class worked on back to the community?
Yeah, our project was to do a fundraiser for the Excelsior Youth Center. And at that time, we were trying to assist them with, I'm maybe getting this. I can't remember all of the things that it involved, but it was definitely a fundraiser on behalf of the Excelsior Youth Center, which is a facility for young girls who are struggling, whether it be at home or in school. And some of the folks, their families could have signed them up and enrolled them within that facility. And in some instances, it was actually social services or the Department of Corrections that might have a young person, a young female, have them set up to be there at that facility. And so what we wanted to do was to be able to give back and to kind of mentor to those young ladies that their community does care about them. And so we held one of the biggest fundraising. I mean, we used to carry around with pride at my Leadership Aurora, the class of 2007. We would carry a significant amount of pride that we raised $50,000 for that facility that particular year.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. That's incredible.
Thank you.
That's absolutely amazing. So just kind of going off of that a little bit, Chief, why is community engagement and service important to you personally and also just in your profession as well?
Well, for me personally, I've always tried to live my life as someone who wants to serve with purpose greater than oneself. And I try to, every new command that I take over, I try to reemphasize that to our officers so that they're aware that there's got to be something more to life than just looking after your own self. And that's really what took me into having so much fun in the Leadership Aurora program, because I was with my classmates who believed in that same purpose, that same cause. And so it gave us an opportunity to pursue a common goal in terms of trying to do something to bring about stronger relationships with those folks who are less fortunate. And that goes hand in hand with why I got into law enforcement in the first place. So as you can see, my experience in Leadership Aurora not only helped me to develop and grow from a personal level, but also professionally in terms of getting with other community leaders that have the same purpose in life, and that is to uplift someone else.
Sure, absolutely. So just to kind of go off of that as well, looking at some of the other leaders and things that you've done professionally, what have you seen or done that really helps inspire leadership, that change, that unity in the community in your professional and personal life? And what are some of those qualities that maybe you strive to look for in other leaders and even maybe some of your colleagues and other community members to kind of help inspire that leadership and service back to those in our local community?
Well, I think when you're in law enforcement, there's a natural tendency to kind of lump personnel into this group that are very straightforward, very somewhat militaristic, very much by the book. And oftentimes within that persona, we forget to identify, to be able to relate to something that's near and dear to me, and that's seeing that a person has compassion for the people who they serve, and to me, that's a leadership quality, that is very important for me to be able to convey as I work with folks who are new to law enforcement, and I try to mentor to those folks that's an important quality, a characteristic that once you lose it, it's very hard to redevelop that empathetic capacity. And so for me, I look for in leaders compassion, and that's what I try to make sure that I pass along to bring about inspiration in other folks, to bring out the best in them.
Oh, that's wonderful. So something I want to touch upon as we are kind of launching this program and this discussion for the Aurora community here, and really around the same time that we've been experiencing probably one of the more, at least in my lifetime, one of the more challenging seasons we all have experienced, whether that be from the pandemic, the things that we're seeing in our local communities, really not only locally, but from across the country. kind of a two-part question for you. What is something, and along those lines of inspiring unity and leadership, what are some of those, what's maybe a challenge that you have encountered just throughout this last year, these last 6 to 8 months? And what is something that you've seen really positive and inspiring in some of the work that you've been doing and that you've seen in your local community?
I think that when we're going through the type of challenges that we're experiencing right now, quite often self-doubt creeps in, and you start to wonder if you're truly having the impact in the lives of others that you seek to. And for me, I think one of the most inspirational things is, as I put myself out there to look for an opportunity to be a chief, and I did apply with Aurora to be the chief of Aurora. And then subsequently applied to the City of Abilene to be the chief there. Some of those same tendencies to have that self-doubt creep in would start to occur. And for me, having those people that are constantly around you, you surround yourself with, who believe in you and who continue to reinforce those positive things about yourself, are what has helped me to be able to see that brighter side of things, and to be able to know that we can get through some of the toughest challenges in our lives. We can even fight off that self-doubt by just leaning a little bit on the shoulders of our friends, our family, and knowing that there's some value in what they tell us. And then in turn, us realizing that there's some inherent value in us to share those positive things about the people that we've surrounded ourselves with, and give them a little bit of joy and a little bit of happiness, and knowing that they can make a difference as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just as you've been with the community of Aurora for your career and spending over 24 years, and thank you so much for your incredible service. What stood out to you about the City of Abilene when you were applying and kind of looking into that opportunity?
Abilene's an incredible community because of how supportive they are of their law enforcement agency. I found that the community was very welcoming of me and my family. And it's taken a lot for me to expose my family to the public. I've always been very private in my law enforcement career, with not having my family be out in front. And Abilene actually welcomed me to do that, and made the decision to move there a lot easier than I would have ever thought it would have been, considering how dedicated and how much Aurora has meant to me.
So just kind of going off of that and how much the community of Aurora has meant to you, what would you say are some of those key elements that really make Aurora a special place?
Aurora is extremely diverse, and when I talk about diversity, I'm not referring to us necessarily just looking at the different peoples of color. I'm also talking about diversity in our economics, diversity within the type of jobs that are out there for folks to engage in. You can, on one aspect, be within what we would consider to be the more of the urban type environment, in terms of having stores and malls at your disposal. But then you can, on the other end, go out to East Aurora and there'll be hardly anything out there. But one thing that we all share in common is that, we all are still within the city limits of Aurora, and we all still have great compassion for our community. So those are some of the things that I enjoy about the community. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't add in that really what makes Aurora unique is its people. I've always felt that Aurora is my home. It's a place where my kids were born. It's not just a place where I list my address and it's the City of Aurora. It's truly a place that I have felt welcomed and felt at home as well. So it really was not, if it wasn't for my desire to be able to lead an organization, I could see staying within the community of Aurora until I retired a little bit later in life.
Sure.
But as it turns out, my desire to actually want to lead an organization has led me to go outside.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And congratulations again, just on the role of chief and leading that department. And so with that, how would you say that you would be able to carry your experiences with Leadership Aurora, as well as just your service to the Aurora Police Department, into that new role for the City of Abilene?
As you know, Jordan, you are what your experiences have made you. And the experiences that I've had working with Leadership Aurora taught me how invaluable being able to get outside of the law enforcement box and actually immerse myself back into the community and work alongside leaders within Aurora. It's taught me that that's something that I need to look for, that I need to seek out when I get to Abilene, that I need to find opportunities to be associated with organizations or programs that immerses me within other leaders, business leaders within the community of Abilene. And that's something I directly learned from my experience with Leadership Aurora, and I look forward to taking that with me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what are maybe some possible goals that you want to try to carry into maybe the first, 6 months of your time with the new community? Have you thought about some of those things that you're looking forward to implementing or just kind of seeking after in that new position?
Yes. So one of the things that I want to do is to make sure that when I get to Abilene, I take the time to just be quiet and listen and learn as much as I can from the people that are within the community. And that's all the stakeholders, fellow law enforcement folks, as well as our citizens. And it's important that I meet them where they are, that I not expect them to come to me to have that dialogue, but that I actually take the conversation to them by attending church services, by attending special events, and making myself available to thoroughly immerse within the community of Abilene. And again, these are things that I learned from my time here in Aurora, that I learned through working with the Leadership Aurora program, and I intend to make a part of what I do within the first 90 days of being there. So I think I have a huge task ahead of me to make myself available to all the different groups that I'm going to need to get with. But I think I have a good foundation for how best to make that happen based on my experiences here in Aurora.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Chief. So one of the things that we are really excited about with this program is we want to really try to inspire and encourage others in their community, whether they're listening from the Aurora Chamber Distribution Network or some other avenues like the Key Community Response Team and other groups that are represented across the Aurora community, of getting more involved in the community. And that's something I've seen really special with the City of Aurora, is the engagement levels that the citizens and really the community members have. So with those that might be listening to this and that want to get involved more in the local community, what are some things that maybe you would encourage them to do or seek out as far as getting involved specifically here in Aurora?
Well, I'm definitely going to make a pitch for the Leadership Aurora program, because I think that it exposes you to so many different aspects of this community that you've never been aware or realized were even there. And so I think it's important for just our regular citizen folks to realize that this is an opportunity for you to join a program that will not only engage you with community leaders, but will also expose you to a variety of different aspects of our city. So, we introduce you to the Buckley Air Force Base and the military, introduce you to not only law enforcement, but our fire department. We also teach you about our city elected officials and our nonprofit organizations that are out there. There are a number of nonprofit organizations that could use a tremendous amount of help. Leadership Aurora is one of those ways or approaches to be able to get there, to be able to participate. But many of those organizations, like Arapahoe Works, like the Salvation Army, These are organizations that you don't necessarily have to associate with the Leadership Aurora program to be able to participate in. And I only named a couple there. There's so many that could use your help. Oftentimes we forget about our schools. We have Cherry Creek schools and the Aurora Public Schools that also participate in the Leadership Aurora program. And it gives you an opportunity to see not only the instruction that our students are provided, but the facilities, and to actually be able to get a better idea of how the administrators for those respective school districts go about running our schools. And so I can't express enough about how much the Leadership Aurora program has meant to me, and how much for someone who's looking to be involved, this can be a very instrumental program for folks to participate in.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Now just a couple of just some fun questions for you. As you've lived in the community of Aurora, what are some of your favorite local places, local restaurants that you really enjoy eating at, maybe parks, things that you enjoy? What are some of those favorite locations that you really love visiting?
So I'm probably a little less adventurous when it comes to eating places, because I have a very sensitive stomach. But one of the things that I love about Aurora is that you do have a wide variety of eating restaurants, and I'm a steak and potato guy. So for me, being able to go to the Texas Roadhouse here locally is one of my favorites. Outback Steakhouse is another one that's a favorite of mine. I do know that putting out a plug for Outback Steakhouse, they typically have someone in our Leadership Aurora classes. So, definitely a place that I would invite folks to participate in eating at with their families. Other things that I enjoy doing, we have a lot of events that the City of Aurora hosts on the Great Lawn, and we haven't been able to do that this past year as a result of the COVID pandemic. But I can tell you is just as soon as we're able to meet that challenge and get beyond, the Great Lawn will open back up, and the city will begin hosting some of its events, like the 4th of July Spectacular, where you can view the fireworks that the city puts off on July 4th. We also have our Global Fest event that's in August, which brings about a wide variety of cultures. I know the police department, we enjoy that event because we will oftentimes set up a dunk tank, which gets folks like myself an opportunity to see what kind of a pitching arm our citizens have with me fighting to try to stay above water, literally. So those are some of the things that I enjoy doing within the city of Aurora.
That's awesome. And if you were to have, I'm a fan of the show Parks and Rec, and I always remember the treat yourself day. If you were to have, a day where you can treat yourself to kind of any activity, enjoyment, meal, hobby, what would that activity or activities potentially be?
Hey, I'm a big proponent right now. My girls are of age where they're fun it's fun for them and it's fun for me, for us to hang out together. And so I prefer a nice bike ride. I'll load up the bikes and we'll head over to the Cherry Creek State Park and ride around out there. It's beautiful during the warm months. There's a lot of places where you can actually park your bike and sit on a bench and enjoy the shade, have some lunch, and then get back on and get some good riding in. So very much we're an outdoorsy kind of family.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Wonderful. Well, Chief, I really want to thank you so much for partnering with us and participating in this program. It really, truly is an honor. And, you and I have had the wonderful opportunity of working together over the last couple of years and really having a wonderful relationship with kind of the missions of our organizations and really serving the community, but getting to know you a little bit more through this Leadership Aurora program and having the opportunity just to hear some of your insights in leadership are really remarkable. And so I do want to congratulate you again with your new role with the City of Abilene and serving as the chief out there. And I know that your leadership is going to be absolutely incredible. And I'm excited to and stay connected as well and hear about how things are going in the community. But just want to give you an opportunity to see if there's anything else that you would like to add around the topics of leadership and service, or just anything in general that you would like to convey to the audience.
Hey, I'm so thankful for this invite, Jordan. It means a lot to me that of all the many folks that have gone through the Leadership Aurora program, and also within even the police department that have participated in the program, you reached out to me and asked me to be a part of this. It means a great deal. I guess what I would say is that I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the many folks who I've worked alongside over the years, and not only within the police department, but I got a few years to participate on the Leadership Aurora board, and the many great folks that would participate on the board in helping to run the class for the new classes that would come in. And not only really, I understand that there's a great deal of work that goes into keeping the Leadership Aurora program going, but to know that you can do it with the level of teamwork that was demonstrated to me over the years says a great deal. And so I just want to thank all of those folks in the Leadership Aurora program, past and present, for what you do, because it does mean a great deal to our community, and it's a part of something that I will forever take with me in my new endeavors. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chief. We really appreciate it. And until next time, looking forward to staying connected and hearing about how the City of Abilene is going for you. So congratulations again, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you again for joining us today as we continue to make Aurora a wonderful place to live, work, and play. We are honored to speak with such remarkable individuals from our community and shed light on the great work they do in Aurora every day to inspire unity, change, and service. We hope that you continue to join in for more of these great conversations. And if you would like to learn more about the Leadership Aurora program or get involved in the Aurora community, visit www.aurorachamber.org. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay excellent.